Today is a sad day. It's a sad day for every Celtic fan. It's the last press conference of the football season, which means that we've got roughly around about, after next week, we've got about 8 weeks. It's about 6 weeks, isn't it? 6 or 7 weeks with no Celtic. Raging. Absolutely raging. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about Celtic, we're going to talk about everything Celtic, and we're going to talk about people that may or may not come to Celtic. That's what we're going to do over the summer. But before then, let's listen to the one and only James Forrest before we listen to Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, and I think actual win that away from home, I think it made the night. I think it started off with the performance was really good. Then after the game, the fans were bouncing, and then obviously going back to the stadium as well. It was the atmosphere was incredible there. And, no, I think it was a great night all round.
Good. I was glad that James he's totally buzzing with that, and he's had many championship medals over his time at Celtic, and it's good that he still enjoys it so much.
Staff said it's been a long season. I think there's been loads of different events and loads of different things that have happened throughout the season. But I think that shows as a club, as a group, like players, staff, like we are together, and obviously the fans as well. And we've managed to come through like the hard times. And I think you're right. I think it does make it more sweeter.
We touched on
it. Does that? It makes it a lot more sweeter because let's face it, it was only 6 weeks ago that the Rangers had won the Morality Cup with a 3-3 draw. They thought they were going on to win the league, but Celtic come to the fro at the right. They just come together. Brendan Rodgers said this is when Celtic come alive. The question then turned to James Forrest about the Champions League next season and the revamped Champions League, and the fact that in the Champions League next season there's going to be 8 games, and there needs a bit of investment if we're going to do anything. Because let's face it, we got absolutely mothered, we got hammered and everything in the Champions League. It was just an embarrassment, really, for what we could have achieved. I expected more from Celtic this season, and James Forrest was asked that question.
Aye, definitely. I think it's. Obviously the manager was here before, but all the kind of stuff at the start of the season, I think that's maybe the last few months it's just kind of been forgotten about now, and we've won the league, and I think it's exciting that, as you said, it's in like Champions League is going to be different, and I think it's exciting for everyone, and obviously we go straight into that as well, so that's a massive bonus and something to look forward to.
The manager mentioned that there was maybe a wee bit of awkwardness at the beginning when he did come back, and there was a wee bit of an edge to it with the supporters. Did you feel that as players, that, it wasn't obviously accepted and adored as the way he was the first time around, just in that initial stage?
No, I think like maybe he felt that, and that's maybe how the fans felt. But I think not all the players, especially. I think there's only a few of us that knew him from before, and then maybe all the other players that he signed and players that he hadn't worked with before. I think it's a new manager. I think they don't you don't look to that. Kind of the outside stuff. I think you just every day you're working with the manager and where he's been and what he's won before, and I think all the boys were really excited to work with him.
Exactly, and that's a stupid question, and it's just Scottish media for you, isn't it? It's just Scottish media, and it's the way that the question thing in Scotland. I mean, the players are there to do a job. They tend not to look at newspapers and stuff and think about what's going on with the fans, and the fact that fans were locked out. They're not going to look into the reasons why. They've got a job to do. You just get on with your job, and it's as simple as that.
12 of the last 13 league titles, but do you feel that the manager can be here for the long run, here with a younger squad, build something, a proper period of dominance again in all the trophies and then in Europe as well?
In Europe, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, because let's face it, Brendan Rodgers' record in Europe hasn't been that great. Folks, we're going to the Champions League and we're going to enjoy it, and we'll enjoy the 8 games. Yeah, there is 8 games next season. I think it'll be 4 at home and 4 away. Some cracking away days, hopefully. We'll get the excitement back in early August. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's what he'll be looking to do. I think everyone knows how successful he was here before, but it is a new batch of players. It's a few years down the line, and I'm sure he'll want to maybe add to more trophies and add to more stuff that he maybe didn't do, maybe runs in Europe and that exactly. As well. So no, I think he's obviously hungry for trophies and winning things, and he'll want to keep doing that.
That then comes down to the board. The board needs to back this manager in the right way. The board needs to back him the right way, and the fans will always back Celtic. The fans will back this team till they die, but till the fans die, not the team. This team will never die. Not like that team across the road. But it is all going to be down to what Brendan Rodgers will now be marked on is results in Europe. Let's not piss around. Let's not kid ourselves on. Next season, he will be given pass marks or failure marks on our European results. Winning the league is easy for Brendan Rodgers. It's not been that easy this season, but it's his bread and butter up here. It is his bread and butter. And he was asked about how good it was to win the league again with Celtic.
With thousands of fans there, how do you reflect on all of that?
Yeah, well, it's a really special time, of course, when you win a title and you win it in the way that we have done. It was a great performance on Wednesday night. Everything I'd want in the team and how we played, and then obviously that chance to celebrate with the supporters was really special. So yeah, it was a great evening.
It was a great evening, but let's not forget, and we do have a game tomorrow. Just we're talking about a lot of other things, but Brendan Rodgers fell out with Lawwell and Co the last time purely for the fact that he wasn't getting the money that he felt was needed to take the club forward, and then he decided that Peter Lawwell wanted the 10 million compensation. And it was basically, right, you're going down to there. It's as simple as that. Brendan Rodgers had already told Lawwell that he was wanting to leave at the end of that season. But Lawwell said, you're not getting one over me. You're off. See you later. The Celtic board this time round have to back this manager the way that the fans want him backed. We want to be successful in Europe. We want to have a run in Europe. We want to hold our heads high up in Europe. We want to be in a position where teams are once again feared of coming to, they're scared shitless about coming to Celtic Park because it has that bit of a fortress about it again. It's never had that for a long, long time.
And then by the time you get to Trophy Day, it's still a special day, but it feels as if you won the league maybe earlier. I think this I think will make it extra special with having clinched it on Wednesday, then not so long then to have to wait for the game. But I always like us to play well in this moment. It's a celebration, of course, but it's still
exactly.
We've still got 3 points to play for and finish the season on a real high.
Yes, and we do.
They're absolutely unrivaled. It's, if you think we're in a little town in Scotland and Kilmarnock, and those players, some of them may go on and play for other clubs, and I've been able to manage other clubs and another huge club in Liverpool. But there's not many clubs you will get that either after the game, on the field, and then coming away and having that at the stadium. That is what makes this club so unique.
It's what makes it so unique. It was an interesting point that Brendan just said there. Some of these players might move on, he alluded to, in the summer. So they've taken all that in. Obviously, their player like Joe Hart is going to move on because he's retiring from international football. But that was an interesting little snippet that he knows that some of these players will move on in the summer.
I think tomorrow as well, it'll be extra special as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
We are looking forward to it. We are looking forward to it so much because it's Trophy Day. Then there was the bittersweet sort of moment question that gets asked by one of the guys in the room, and how does Brendan feel about what he's done and what he's achieved and the journey that he's personally went through this season?
Listen, I'm not made of wood. We all have feelings, and we're all obviously built in different ways. I feel that I can deal with pressure and those situations, but it still doesn't make you immune to everything. But I think what experience has given me is not to become too emotional with words.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of that. I can trace back to August whenever the headlines were around,
Yep.
I'm, under massive pressure.
Yeah.
This was on the 26th of August.
Yes, exactly.
So, and that has continued right the way through.
But you have to remember, Brendan, we did lose to Kilmarnock at that period and we were at the Scottish Cup. And you're right. You were under the caution. All the headlines for months up until nearly December were all about Celtic in crisis. If it wasn't the fans that were in crisis, it was Brendan Rodgers that was in crisis. If it wasn't Brendan Rodgers, it was the board that was in crisis. There was always a negative headline to be put out. It was whipping boys' day in the media for months because they tried to break Celtic down in the media to try and make sure that their team could cross the line in May, and it didn't work at all, did it?
Various people having their say, and that's the modern world and in this game. But for me, there was, I had to show a mental strength like the team has had to do, and eventually we the work that we do, the processes that we have in place, have come through in the end, and that's why we create habits every single day so that it becomes us. And for me, it's no different. It's been a challenging season in ways that I didn't think it would be. I knew it was going to be a little bit awkward and a little bit of a feeling coming back, which I totally get. But one or two things surprised me, which, as I said, you have to deal with them the best you can. But ultimately, I'm paid here to win and to develop a team to play in the way the fans want them to play. And I think, obviously, this last period, we can see that now.
You have
I drive up in here into work every morning absolutely full of joy. I love my life as a professional manager. I absolutely adore working with this group of players and the staff here at Celtic. The support I've been given has been unwavering right the way through the season. I've always thankful of Dermot bringing me back, because that was such a brave decision from him and the board to take me back, knowing that maybe it wasn't going to be universally acclaimed, bringing me back no matter how successful I'd been. But they had the foresight and they had the acumen to be able to convince me to come back, and I'm so glad that I did do. You then have to deal with those situations, like you say, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it. I wouldn't change it, because it makes me a better coach and a better manager, having to go through what I have gone through this season, and I know that we'll be back bigger and stronger for next season.
That's an interesting point that he made. It was big of Dermot to reach out, obviously, first of all, and bring him back. A lot of people are under the illusion that Brendan jumped ship, when the reality was that he had already told Lawwell, due to the financial restraints of the club and the fact that they didn't get John McGinn and a lot of other things at the time. Brendan did tell Lawwell that he had planned to leave at the end of that season. When the offer from Leicester came in, he wasn't really thinking about it. He told Danny McGrain that he wasn't thinking about it. That's on video. I've got that on video on this channel. That he told Danny McGrain that morning. It's just paper talk. But Brendan, being Brendan, was basically told, look, we want the compensation money. Lawwell basically put it to him, and the rest is history. The rest is history, and it's as simple as that. It's as black as white as that, believe it or not, but it is as black as white as that. And the manager is, I wonder, that would have been a really interesting conversation the first time that he met Peter Lawwell again.
Surprising a little bit that so many people didn't see what was happening around the team. That was the biggest surprise for me, and especially having been here before, knowing how my teams operate, knowing how they play, knowing how they attack, knowing how that is always the intention. It's not full out attack. I tend to think my teams, if you think of a top boxer isn't throwing punches all the time. He has to put his guard up every now and then. So, and I think my teams are reflective of that. They attack, they're aggressive, they score goals, we try to defend well. And and clearly there was a reason and a purpose as to why it maybe wasn't functioning quite the same. It certainly wasn't that I'd lost the hunger or was going through the motions or hadn't the stomach for the fight, is what some people said, and that's clearly people who don't know me. So
Get in,
it's been very
Brendan.
satisfying.
Yes.
But it's all about creating a habit, and the players have been brilliant in creating those habits, and we eventually get our reward.
Get in, Brendan. Absolutely get in, Brendan. Have a dig at the press. This is the one that we've been waiting for. This is the interview we've waited all season for him to bitch slap the bitches that absolutely slated him in the media week in and week out and saying that he was going through the motions, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant.
So yeah, we're planning and looking forward. And that's always the case.
It's always the case. And people said, oh, Brendan Ball's pissed. Let's put to bed the whole Brendan Ball stuff. Ange Postecoglou's in the ball. Ange Ball's in the past. Brendan Ball was never called Brendan Ball the first time round. Let's just get back to calling it football. Brendan never wanted to have this side-to-side nonsense that people say that he wanted. He's just admitted it. That's not the way that his team wants to play. There was reasons that the team weren't performing to their optimum over that period of time, and people couldn't see it in the media and certainly in the fans. Anyway, let's see what he said next.
I think there's, as I said, there was probably a surreal feeling around it all, but I think as we've gone along and you build that trust again, and we stay aggressive, and then that's when we're at our best. So. But we've still work to do this season. We've got 2 games. We want to finish well tomorrow in front of our supporters and finish off, we can finish off with 93 points and add to our goal tally for what has been a disaster storyline created. Then it's some benchmark that we've set.
He's not giving up, is he? He's not giving up. He's just going to make sure he digs, and he's like a boxer. Jab, jab, punch, jab, jab, punch. Is Brendan on this one? Jab, jab, punch. He's just keeping on going. I love it.
And then we have a cup final, which I'm so excited about.
One of the points, Brendan, is actually compares really well to previous seasons. I think your second season you won to be 82. So does that give you a bit of satisfaction?
Disaster. Disaster.
Well, one of the things about this client was the January window, and you sat here and you said to us you'd like the pot a wee bit breeder in the future. Do you think that's something that you're on the same page with them?
I'm pretty sure it will be the case, but it's not for now. That's
it's not a
we'll
conversation
have
for
to
now.
talk about transfers and everything else.
Yep.
We're very clear on what it is we need to do to improve. The club work in a way, and we will work in a way that allows this club to be sustainable.
Yes.
But we also want to progress on the field.
Yes.
And that's something that we're all be aligned with.
Good. Hopefully the men upstairs have been listening to you, and they're getting the type of player that you're looking for as a manager. They'll get them lined up for you, and hopefully we can get them in and make this club back to what it was in Europe, and just have that little bit of luck. Was it in Europe, or did that lucky man leave?
So the clubs and honours that he's won. I was really looking forward to coming in and working with Joe. I know when he came here a few years back, or nearly 3 years now, that I felt that it would have been a great move for him because he hadn't been playing so much, and probably the career was maybe not moving how he would have wanted to, or certainly getting towards the end. But to come here, he's been reinvigorated, and he's just such a great guy. And for 37 years of age, he comes in every day and to try and impress and let people judge him like it's his first ever day. Been a real leader in the changing room with Callum. Callum's been absolutely incredible as a captain, but you need people alongside you as well to drive the messages through, and Joe has been very strong in that. So he'd be sorely missed because, as I said, he's a good guy. And I know after when he finishes, he'll look back in this spell and he'll only see it as been a huge positive for him. So he's loved and adored by the supporters. They see he's a genuine guy who's given his all to Celtic. And let's hope in these next couple of games we can finish off his story and he can go off into the sunset a successful and a legendary Celt.
Yes, the one and only Joe Hart, Joe, Super Joe. You've been sitting in the hotel at this point with the rest of his teammates for the second last time as a Celtic player. Well, it'll be his last time getting ready to go to Celtic Park, and they'll sit and have their evening meal tonight, and then they'll all sit around and chat, and he'll sit and reflect on what's been an absolutely fantastic spell for him in his career at Celtic. And it's true, we want Joe to go out as an absolute legend of a winner, and it's all geared up for the 25th of May. Such a special day in the history of Celtic Football Club.
So good is, he gave the team what it lacked in my first season there when I brought him into the team. And it was a wee bit of a similar thing. There was two other centre-halves playing in front of him. He was towards the end of his career and was seeing out his last year. But I seen Cara in training every day, and then I could see the qualities he had. So when I put him in, he made the team better. But by the end, he was ready. He was going into his role in Sky, and he finished off on a real high. And Joe's exactly the same. He'll go on. He'll have a successful career outside of what he's doing, but he's finishing it in the way that you would want to as a player, going out strong, going out a winner.
You mentioned Joe and Callum in the dressing room. How do you keep the hunger within the squad and the rest of the players season?
I think the question should be is how do you replace that leadership within the squad? That, I wouldn't say father figure within the squad, but that elder statesman, if you like, someone that's been there and done it. Celtic really need to go out and purchase someone. They need to bring in someone in the midfield, I would say, that has probably been there and done it. Maybe even a defender that is played at a higher level than what is currently the players that we've got just now, and has that little bit more experience. Let's just hope that the manager and the incoming recruitment guy can get it right this summer.
Understand very quickly the demands, the expectations, the history of this club, and the history that you've had on wherever you've been before doesn't matter.
Exactly.
When you come to here.
Exactly.
You've got to come in here and perform.
Yep.
But you have to come in here and perform with a humility.
Yes.
This is a club that it demands that you obviously play with expectation, with pressure, but you have to have that humility to work hard every day. And that's a habit, like I've said earlier, that's been set, and something that you have to come into and embrace that if you want to become a winner.
Yes.
That installation of belief and demand is within this squad, and something that will continue. And now, what a player! Been absolutely magnificent for us.
He's 3 medals away from being the most decorated Celt now. Not looking
James
too far
A.
ahead,
Forrest.
that is remarkable.
Yeah, it really is, and like I said, the likes of him and Callum, there's such
integral parts of everything that is Celtic, and it's always been the case. And it is a big personal worry of mine that we don't have that type of player coming through the system just now. We don't have the next generations of Callum McGregors. We've had it for years now. We had a kind of a bit of a conveyor belt of players that could come potentially through. Over the last 20 years, we've had some fantastic players that have came through. There is the one and only Daniel Kelly. I am expecting massive things for him at Celtic, and I think he can go on to become one of those greats in a few years' time. But it's just unfortunate that we don't have one coming through right now. hats off to James Forrest. What an James Forrest is the type of player that will not be 100% appreciated until he hangs up his boots. Just puts them up on the shelf and goes, that's it, I'm done. But we've been so close to being the most decorated Celtic player of all time. We must keep him at Celtic, and we must play him as many times as we can next season. We should manage his fitness and the season after just to get him over the line and be the most. And I think that year we should even make him captain.
Stalwarts for this club and everything that it represents. You know, do your talking on the pitch, class acts off the pitch, come in every day prepared, work hard, be real ambassadors for the club, and Jamesy's been that. And looking back from when I first came here in 2016, to think that he was, you know, maybe on the way out, but outstanding in that period. I come into here, he's maybe not played so much, so younger guys are coming in to take his place, and so you got to give them a chance. And
yeah, exactly.
But then you quickly
come
to the conclusion that he's our best winger.
Yep, that is. We knew that had said that had been happening. You know, there is the younger player coming in, the younger, faster player. You're expecting him to come in and hit the ground running. But let's face it, Louis Palmer, he can't lace James Forrest's boots. Nico Kuhn, he's bound to be looking at James Forrest and going, I'm getting done in by an old geezer.
Okay, he might not be able to do some of the things that he could have done 6-7 years ago, but there's a lot that he can do.
Yes.
And you've seen that now in this last period, and he's been one of the real catalysts for this team. And those experienced players, all of them.
Yep.
James, Joe, Callum, they've really took the games by the scruff of the neck and been absolutely brilliant. And he's clearly, obviously, a part of that.
And that then leads to the question, where are the next generation of leaders going to come from? Please don't tell me it's going to be Tony Ralston. Please don't tell me it's going to be Stephen Welsh. As good as they are they that good? Really?
Again, and seeing the joy that it has given so many people, it just gives a real hunger and motivation for the next trophy. So that was the highlight for sure.
Can I just ask you, obviously they're having a vote on VAR down south in the future of that. Would you like to see the clubs up here getting a say in that, or would you prefer, obviously Willie's coming into his job now, would you like to see him get a chance to improve the process?
Yeah, and I think it is that. I think that, listen, Wally's got fantastic experience, so he's going.
Now they're just talking about VAR and shit. Anyway, tomorrow is the last game of the season. We close the curtain on what has been a weird one. It is a weird one. The fans being locked out in the Green Brigades, the boys sitting out the games with them. Celtic Park sounding like a morgue during games, home games, because fans wouldn't sing. The manager basically been told he's a novice and we come out on top. We do what we do, and that's win. We do our talking on the pitch. We don't do it on TikTok. We do our talking on the pitch. Some of us do it here on YouTube. And we're so lucky to be able to talk about the mighty Glasgow Celtic as much as we do. Because let's face it, we are all just one big family. We are one big, happy Celtic family. And I feel that. And I feel it from all the fans all around the world. And on that note, have a fantastic evening. One more sleep for the last game at Celtic Park. And then it's a week to prepare for the Scottish Cup.